NPU-F website, there's a registration form. You fill out the registration form, and then at the end of that form, it tells you an email address and a phone number that you can either text or email proof of residency. That's any document that has your name and address on it. And then that is how it's verified. And how much time? I do not know how much time. I don't know
until
She
noon
said 24 hours.
24
until noon
hours.
tomorrow. And just so everybody understands, there are about 30 people that voted that were provisional votes. So either way, it's not going to change the outcome.
Is there a way for somebody to put a link to that website on the chat, and perhaps those people can go
Just
directly?
It is.
search for NPU-F.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Somebody just posted it in the chat.
Okay,
The vote totals that were recited, did they include provisional votes or not include them?
They did include them.
they did include him. We just counted whoever had with a hand raised.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can we move on? All right. The next application is an alcohol license application for the Unknown Flow. This is a restaurant at 2196 Cheshire Bridge Road. It's a change of ownership. Rita Andermariam is the agent. Is the applicant present?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your proposed business?
Yeah, sure. My name is Rita. We are located in 2196. It's a restaurant, a high-end restaurant. Our main focus is to sell American food and have a fine dining restaurant.
And do you have your menu complete?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Okay, and the chef is
Yes,
selected?
we do have a chef in line too.
Okay. What are your hours of operation?
Sunday to Thursday, we are open 5 to 11. And then Friday and Saturday, we are open to 2 o'clock.
Okay. Have you had any experience in as an alcohol agent?
No, ma'am, this will be my first time.
Okay. And have you worked in other restaurants before?
Yes, ma'am. I do have a 5-year service and restaurant industry experience.
Okay. I was a little confused on your application, which didn't appear to be complete, about live entertainment. At the early part of the application, you didn't check off the box if live entertainment would be included, but later in the application, you said that yes, it would be there. So could you tell us more about that?
Yes, as far as the entertainment, once in a month we'll be having a live band type of thing, like a mic singers. We will have a belly dancer once in a month, and then this will be in a special occasion. But yes, we will have entertainment.
Okay, I'm not sure I totally follow. So this is only on special occasions you would have the live?
Well, on Saturday, yes, we will have entertainment, but the belly dancer will be once a month thing. It's not every weekend.
So is this a hookah lounge?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The other thing that wasn't completed were the distance requirements from residences, schools, churches, etc. Was there a reason why you didn't complete that?
We just did a change of ownership. It wasn't required, to my knowledge.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
Okay, we can have that filled in for you.
Okay. And then the last question I have is around the parking requirements. Your application says that your building is 5,700 square feet, but only 16 spaces were required. Tell me how you came up with that calculation.
Well, the city requires 16 parking.
And how do they determine that? I can't imagine what formula they were using for that. Usually for a restaurant, it's one for every 100 square feet.
We do have a space for 54, but the city only requires 16. So that's what, I don't know how they come up with that. I don't have an answer for that.
Could you check that out and send it?
Yeah, we can definitely have that ready for you.
Okay.
But it is 56 parking space.
Okay. Leonard Martin Manor, did you have a recommendation?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep. Thanks, Blake.
No problem. At this time, we are recommending to decline the application. As of 24 hours ago, we were told that there was no menu or chef. And within the past 24 hours, we've been told there is a menu and a chef hired. We have concerns with the type of restaurant that it is, and it kind of aligns with other businesses on Chester Bridge that, you know, fall into the guise of a restaurant, but don't really fall more parallel to a lounge.
Yeah, I think we also had concerns about just the meeting yesterday. The agent really didn't speak much. It was the interior designer and the accountant that spoke most, but they apparently had no interest in financial interest in the meeting, so that was a little misleading. And it seems to be the same case today. I've noticed she looks up for someone else to help answer. So I would just be curious as to who the actual interests are in the business. But you know, we support business, we want good restaurants, but it didn't seem totally honest yesterday. Just, you know, speaking
Okay. So your recommendation is to not support this application?
under the current conditions, yes. If we had a little bit more clarity, like I said, we support restaurants, we want good restaurants, we want good people in the neighborhood, but everyone on this call knows as well as I do the issues that we face in LMM. Just with Cheshire Bridge and some of the other establishments that have gone through this exact agenda and kind of said what was needed to say to get approved. So I would like to support it, but unfortunately the board said no at this point, just for those reasons.
Okay. There are two hands raised. Nicholas Boxer, did you have a question for the applicant? Or
Yeah, my question was, is there an age requirement to get in? Or can children go to this place, or do you have to be over a certain age?
21 and up.
Okay. So that would seem to make it more of a bar or a lounge or a club.
Not a club. It's a restaurant. It's a high-end restaurant, but we are required 21 older to get in. Yes, but it's not a club. It's in order to sell alcohol, you have to be 21. So
But you don't have to be 21 to enter a restaurant that serves alcohol. Why 21?
yeah, we are open until 2 o'clock on the weekend. So it's a 21 and up.
Okay. Thanks, Nicholas. Kay?
Yeah, I have a few questions. In that you've had no experience as an alcohol agent, have you read Chapter 10 of the alcohol code for the city?
Not yet.
Okay. When are you planning to open?
The end of the month by first week of next month.
Okay, so within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and you're planning to be responsible for alcohol servers, and you haven't yet read the documentation that tells you what your job is. So I'm a little concerned about that. You said you had 5 years experience. What in the industry? What were you doing in that?
Managing as a manager.
It was all as a manager?
Yes, ma'am. And then I did serve my first year was a server, and then the rest 4 years was as a manager.
Okay. Okay, as the safety chair for the NPU, I have to support the neighborhood in their conclusion. Would love to have you take another look at this application and complete it. So we really understand what you're doing. You're actually required to attach a menu to your application. And the fact that you weren't able to show that last night and don't have it for us to see tonight is a problem. So certainly if you would like to defer and go work on that a little bit and come back, that's your choice. But otherwise, I would support a recommendation for denial on this application.
Are there any other questions?
Just that if anybody else has financial interest in the business, or if it's exclusively hers, I believe her family member owns the building. So I'd just be curious around that. And then, who's actually directing the conversation? Because like I said last night, it seemed like other folks were. So I'd be curious if that's the same today.
Okay, is that a question?
Is that a question? Sorry.
Yeah, that was a question. It was just, who are the actual members of the entity that are going to open the restaurant? Is she's the sole owner?
Yes, I am the sole owner of the restaurant.
Okay. And then do you have an attorney, or was the I think it was an interior designer and accountant, or those the only consultants you have, so to speak?
Yes, that he was there with me yesterday. Yeah, you're right. Which he's actually in a Zoom meeting right now.
Got it. Okay.
Who is your attorney?
She said she didn't have one. I
No,
believe,
it
but-
was,
You don't have one, okay.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if there are no other questions, is there a motion?
Kay, you're on mute. Kay made a motion.
I would move to recommend denial of this application.
Okay,
I'll second that.
whose voice was that?
Angie
me.
Fitzgerald.
Okay, thank you. Okay. The motion is to recommend denial on the application for unknown flow. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Someone's clapping. Clapping will disappear. If you could just check your. There it goes. Okay, I'm going to close the vote. I'm just checking for 2 Vs. That's 3. 4. One. Six, 7. Eight. Okay. That is 88 ayes. Let me lower your hands. All those in opposed to the recommendation to deny, please raise your hand. Has everyone voted that wants to vote? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So by a vote of 88 ayes and 0 nays, the motion carries. The motion to deny carries that application. So thank you for being here tonight. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the your license review board hearing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next application is BZA application. This is V2460, 819 Sherwood Road Northeast. Is the applicant still present?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do you want to give us just a really brief explanation of what you are planning to do?
Yeah, so Jessica's the homeowner and she would like to build a small just 2-car garage. So it's a 20 by 20 single story, just modest 2-car garage. The lot is very small and it couldn't fit within the setbacks. So we're asking for side yard and rear yard variances of 3 feet.
3 feet, okay. Morningside, what was your recommendation?
Our recommendation was to approve.
To approve. Okay. Are there any questions for the applicant? Is there a motion?
I moved we approve V24-060.
Okay, is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Marla.
Yeah, it was actually Marla, but okay.
That's right. Marty made the motion. Marla seconded the motion. All those in favor of the motion to recommend approval of V2460 at 819 Sherwood Road, please raise your hand. Okay, has everyone voted that wants to vote? Oops, that number just popped up. Okay, I see 54 ayes. Let me lower. Clear the feedback. If you're opposed to the motion to recommend approval of V2460 at 819 Sherwood Road, please raise your hand. We'll just wait a little minute. Okay, I don't see any hands being raised. By a vote of 54 ayes and 0 nays, the motion carries. And
Thank
we
you.
will send a recommendation to the city. Okay. The next application is V2463, 862 Brookridge Drive. The applicant seeks a variance from the zoning ordinance to reduce the east side yard setback from 7 feet to 1 foot. Is the applicant present?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. Do you want to tell us what your plans are, please?
Yes, it's to build a shade structure in our backyard. We spoke with our neighbors. We came to an agreement to move the structure to 3 feet instead of 1 feet. We had the plan approved by the city, and I presented that on Monday and got unanimous approval from the Virginia Highland VCA Board of Directors.
Okay, great. Thanks. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? No, I don't see any questions. Is there a motion?
I'll move to support.
Okay. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Marla. Okay, a motion has been made and properly seconded to recommend support or recommend approval of V 2463. The variance application request is now to reduce the east side yard setback from 7 feet to 3 feet. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Somebody's clapping. Don't know who's clapping.
It happens.
Let me just check for twos. It's 49 ayes. Going to clear the feedback. If you're opposed to recommending approval of V 2463, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So by a vote of 49 ayes and 0 nays, the motion carries. The last BZA application is V 2469 at 1753 Pine Ridge Drive Northeast. The applicant seeks a special exception from the zoning ordinance to allow active recreation adjacent to a public right-of-way. My favorite special exception. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Okay, Charlie, do you want to tell us about your active recreation?
Sure. We're building a swimming pool in the backyard, and I'm working for Lisa and Derek Bauer. So the reason why we're asking for this is because there's a slight section of the pool is being seen by the public right of way, which is basically you can see it from the road, but there's screen trees, and we have a 6-foot privacy fence that's proposed so that you're not going to be able to see the pool from the street. The neighbors have been all informed, and they're good with the project. And no trees are going to be removed. So looking good.
Right,
Move to approve.
I think we need the courtesy of asking Morningside for the recommendation.
Oh,
Let's. Move to approve.
Sorry, I move to approve then.
A second.
Do you want to tell us how Morningside voted or recommended?
Yes, the Morningside board and zoning committee voted unanimously to approve this.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, the motion is to approve. It's been seconded. Jack made the motion, Marty seconded it. Are there any questions for the applicant? I just saw something fly by in the chat. They were asking what is active recreation. It could be anything from a tennis court to a swimming pool to a swing set, a tree house. I can't think of anything. Trampoline is another active recreation. This is a very old ordinance that goes back to before the current zoning ordinances. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Okay, has everyone voted that wants to vote? Ayes, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, it's 3. That'd be 50 ayes. If your vote, please raise, if you vote. If you're opposed to the recommendation, please raise your hand. Sharon, do you want to tell us why you're opposed to it?
Yes, because we used to have a pool that was visible to a walking path in our old home, and kids and teens would jump in and use it when we weren't home, and it was a huge safety risk. So unless there's a fence or some way to keep people out, if it's visible, you're going to have people in there that weren't invited, is my feeling.
Great, thank you. That's good feedback. Okay, I only see one nay. By a vote of 50 ayes and 1 nay, the motion does carry. Okay, that is the last of the BZA applications. We're now at the special event applications, and we only have 2. The first is Indigenous House Atlanta, Class D event, 20,000 participants in the large pavilion at Piedmont Park on May 19th, 2024. John Dennis, are you still with us?
Hey, this is Kira. What is that happening in Piedmont Park?
May 19th, 2024, like this weekend.
Yes, I know. I saw them setting up. I live on Monroe Drive. Just curious, what are they setting up for?
It's a Indigenous House Atlanta. I believe it is a music festival.
Music festival. Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. John Dennis, are you in the room? Okay, I will
See him
report.
on the list.
He was here earlier, but
Yeah.
left a report that he did not attend, or it wasn't present when it came time for a vote.
Kind of have sympathy with that.
Yeah, I do too. Oh, okay.
Do we, if it's happening this weekend, does it matter?
Probably not. Sharon says that his camera is on, he's just not in the room.
Aaron?
Okay, we have one more application after this. I'm gonna give him a chance to come back and then we'll decide what we want to do. The last application is Pure Heat Community Festival. This is also known as Black Pride. It's a Class C event, 19,000 participants, scheduled for September 1st, 2024 in Piedmont Park. Is Melissa Scott present or someone representing Pure Heat? Okay, is there a motion to defer? I don't know what.
I make a motion to defer.
I'll second.
Okay. If there are no objections, the motion carries unanimously. The motion to defer would carry without objection. I think that's what I'm going to say. Okay. And then I'm going to last call for John Dennis. I don't see his name.
I don't either.
Okay, what is the will of the body? We can make a motion to,
John was on there a minute ago.
I actually do see see him.
I do, he,
There's his name right here.
His room is empty though. He's got a bookshelf and a map of the
Right.
world.
Yep.
okay, he probably stepped away. Okay.
Nothing.
We can just report that he didn't attend and that we had no recommendation.
That
Or
would
we,
be, yeah, no recommendation.
so the motion would, is that a motion, Kay?
Sure.
Very good. And is there a second to that motion?
Second. That was Nick Boxer.
So, gotcha.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
So on these things, it's like part of me, my inclination is to vote no on these things because I'd love to see them start using West Side Park for some of these. It's a fabulous facility, much better maintained at this point than Piedmont Park. And is there anything to what, is there any way to encourage that other parks are used?
Actually, believe it or not, Piedmont Park is not being used at the same rate as in previous years. And the reason why I observed that is that I receive a listing of events every weekend that includes like everything all through the city. And oftentimes there are no events other than a 5K in the park. So it's not anywhere near as bad as it used to be. Other parks are hosting things like 5Ks. West Side Park is beginning to get their share of them, but it actually is getting better.
Okay, I'm a stone's throw from Piedmont Park, so I'll just tell you, it doesn't feel that way. And if it was being maintained, it took them forever to restore that walk and the trail and it just seems like the lawns are it just seems like it's
worn out. It's worn out good. Live Nation did a dozen-year number on Piedmont Park.
It just
really
feels
what happened. It was not sad to hear their announcement last week.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I love stuff in Piedmont Park. I get that people want to do it, but I just feel like West Side Park is beautiful park. I ride my bike over there. It's great, and it's usually pretty empty. And I'm like, wow, they set it up in some ways better for certain things because it was new.
Right.
So that was all. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, so a motion's been made. It's been seconded. That there's no recommendation, for this application. Is there any objection to the motion carrying? Any objection to the motion carrying? Okay, hearing none, the motion for no recommendation for Indigenous House carries without objection. That is the end of the, oh, no, it's not the end of the agenda, damn. Okay. And it's getting late. There is a presentation on our agenda on Plan A. Is the planner present that's going to give it? I forgot to.
Yes, I am, Debbie. I'm here.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to do the presentation and the planner's report, Doug?
I am.
Great, then go ahead.
So if I may share my screen right quick. Well, first I'll do the planner's report. I'll do maybe reverse order there, if that's okay. Let's get my notes together here so I can see them. Great. Good evening, everybody. Once again, my name is Doug Young. I'm the NPU-F planner assigned by the Department of City Planning to staff this NPU. My day job at the City of Atlanta is the Director of the Office of Design, which includes the City of Atlanta's Historic Preservation, Public Space, and Strategic Planning Group. In your planners report tonight, which are announcements from our department, there's a couple things I wanted to make you aware of. May marks the beginning of the Love Thy Neighbor phase of the NPU System's 50th anniversary celebration. This is the second phase of that. This spring and summer, we'll be celebrating Atlanta's neighborhoods and neighbors. To kick off phase 2, the Department of City Planning is collaborating with the Atlanta Cycling Festival and ATL DOT to host a bike ride on Friday, May 17th, this Friday. For information about this and other events, you can text NPU ATL to 24251 or visit npuatlanta.org. Please note all this will be in the chat. A link for this will be in the chat, so you don't have to feverishly take notes if you would not like to do that. On Monday, May 20th, Miss Debbie already mentioned this, at 6:30 p.m. at the Habitat for Humanity office at 824 Memorial Drive. Will be the first of several meetings regarding the Zoning 2.0 update to discuss the first set of draft text that'll come out. There'll be a series of these releases, and each one will be accompanied by a meeting to discuss and obviously follow-up meetings as well. So Monday, May 20th, 6:30 p.m. will be the first of these draft text segments released for the zoning update. And then the Department of City Planning is continuing to update the City of Atlanta's Comprehensive Development Plan, which we refer to as Plan A. The DCP, the Department of City Planning, is hosting workshops from mid-May through mid-June, and you'll hear more about those in just a minute. So we invite you to attend those workshops in your NPU or your adjacent NPU, whatever's convenient for you, to learn more about the city's land use development framework and the land use development patterns that are proposed based on feedback from round 1, as well as previously done small area planning studies and the like. Also, there are a couple upcoming NPU University courses in June. There's one that's about ATL DOT's Vision Zero program, Building Community Champions for Safe Streets. That's on Thursday the 13th. There's a neighborhood empowerment workshop on Saturday, May 15th. And on Saturday, June 22nd, is an urban planning academy. Those are also, the details will be in the chat as how to register and more description of those as well. And then on May 22nd will be another monthly installment of the Atlanta City Design Studio Book Club. This is Wednesday the 22nd at 6:30 p.m. This is an in-person book club, and it is at City Hall. The details will be in the chat as well. So that's now probably the 4th or 5th book club we've had this year. And then lastly, for the announcements, is on May 31st at 6 o'clock will be the Atlanta Urban Design Commission and Department of City Planning's annual Design Awards ceremony. And you might remember at our last NPU meeting, the NPU voted on its Community Design Award. There are other awards that are given out as well. That's a free event for the public, starting at May 31st at 6 o'clock. And there's a reception that follows at the City Hall atrium. And those are the NPU Planner Report announcements for this month. Are there any questions about that? And all that, once I finish talking, I'll put a link in the chat where you can click on that and you'll get all the details about what I described.
Great, thank you.
That is it for the planner's report, Debbie. And I can go into the presentation if you'd like now. Pardon?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I will be sharing my screen here. Let me get that ready to go. There we go. And do that. Okay. And let me minimize this. Can y'all see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
great. So this is a very short presentation. I'll put, I think I have a link to this PDF. I'll put that in the chat. But a very quick presentation about the update to the City of Atlanta's Comprehensive Development Plan, also known as Plan A. This is sort of previewing what occurred in round one, which was in April and early May, and then getting ready for round two, which will be mid-May to mid-June. So I'll quickly go through this, and hopefully that'll help you understand where we're going with this part of the Plan A work. Just real quick overview, the Comprehensive Development Plan is a city policy document about the future physical growth and development of the city. This is a required 5-year update required by the state of Georgia and State of Atlanta codes. And it obviously involves neighborhood and public participation and is guided by a public leadership group made of folks that head various public agencies and public bodies that relate to physical development and growth in the city of Atlanta, including city departments, our affiliated agencies, and then heads of our various design review and development review boards as well. Round one, which I mentioned we just concluded, we had about 1,700 Atlantans engaged in the process. We had 700 surveys completed, and we had over 40 events, in-person events throughout the city of Atlanta. Through the course of the in-person events, we tracked where folks were coming from. So we had representation from 24 NPUs in 180 neighborhoods in the city of Atlanta. You can see on the right-hand side, that little chart, which NPUs had the highest representation overall. So it wasn't just any given meeting, but if you put them all together. So you can see all the NPUs listed on the bottom, and then the number of people that came from each NPU, whatever meeting they came to. We track that.
Cool.
And then the round one community engagement events, these are where they were physically located. So the orange dots were the open houses, were the traditional open house format where we had a lot of tables and lots of staff to help folks answer questions and give their input. We also had pop-ups, which are the light blue dots, which were sort of more informal activities. They might have been at a out on the street, essentially a sidewalk, or maybe at a library or some sort of establishment. We arranged to get a little bit of space to sit at with folks that might come on by. We did an event like on the Georgia Tech campus, or those sort of kind of places. And we also had conversations with planners, which were typically at city libraries, where we were there working for the day, and people could walk up and ask us questions. We had access to our laptops and things like that to look things up if people needed to do that as well. And then, as some folks might know, the Comprehensive Development Plan and the zoning ordinance work together to shape development in the city of Atlanta. That's part of why we have rezoning and CDP cases on your neighborhood planning unit agendas. So as referenced earlier, the zoning ordinance is being rewritten. It's called Atlanta Zoning 2.0, which is the top line of this chart. And then the bottom line is the 2021 Plan A update, which occurred a couple years ago, and then our current update is on the right-hand side of that lower level. You can see where they overlap, because ultimately they do, as I said, they work together to shape physical development in the city of Atlanta. You'll notice that we're like right in the middle of 2024 there. So we're at just moving from phase 3 of the zoning ordinance case to releasing those drafts and starting to get input and what have you. And then we're moving into adoption and implementation of that later on this year and into next year. And we're in phase 2 of the CDP work, which is focusing on land use and neighborhood planning. And then we're moving to phase 3, which is about the other elements of the CDP that deal with all the other topics that relate to running and managing a city and planning for its future. So all of the things that we otherwise usually talk about in our neighborhoods and with our neighbors. So they are related, and the teams that are working on both those are many of the same people at City Hall, plus the consultant team is really essentially the same people working on both projects. Oops. I mentioned a minute ago that we have a next round of workshops coming up in May, and I apologize, my little participant ribbon seems to be cutting off the top item here, but that is the May 20th zoning rewrite 2.0 release. May 20th, 6 o'clock, Habitat for Humanity. That happens to be an NPU-N, which is Council District 5. You'll see here that we have the 16 workshops that are scattered around the city of Atlanta that will deal specifically with the land use development framework and the land use patterns in the city. These are all in-person meetings. They're all 2 hours. There are some, most of them on the weekdays, but there are a couple on Saturday mornings. And there's a couple double headers just because we run out of days of the week to have meetings. And so all these meetings will have city staff there, most of them from the Office of Design, but some other sister agencies as well, helping folk understand the proposed ideas and then getting feedback on those. And we'll actually have maps, actual maps that show lines on the map and talking about those very specifically. And then this is just a sense of the, let me move this. This is really annoying me. Hold on just a second here. There we go. So these are the location of the round 2 community workshops or community engagement events. So again, sort of scattered around the city. These are sort of alternating the places where we had the in-person events for round 1. So we're trying to sort of spread the love about where we're having physical meetings around the city of Atlanta. So you can see the 16 meetings and sort of where they generally line up, sort of their grouping in the city of Atlanta. So at the round 2 workshops, we'll be getting input on the goals, policies, and actions for the land use and neighborhood planning chapters of the CDP. Like I said, there's lots of topics that are covered by the CDP. We're just focusing on land use and neighborhood planning right now. As I mentioned, we'll have input on our conversations about the development pattern map. We'll have maps at the table. We can actually look at those and be talking with the planner about your questions and pros and cons and suggestions and what have you. Then we'll be coming back to the NPUs throughout the summer to talk about NPU policies themselves. These are statements and goals developed by each neighborhood, each NPU, that also deal with the physical development of their part of the city of Atlanta, to chat about those, update those, make sure that they're all in sync on that regard. And then we'll also be having more conversations with planners to assist the neighborhoods and NPUs with both the land use and neighborhood policy elements. Then in August through October, we'll be coming back again to the NPU meetings with actual final proposals for the land use patterns and land use framework. And then we'll be asking for votes by each NPU. And then we'll also be starting that round 3 of community involvement, which deals with the other topics that are in the CDP, like historic preservation, natural resources, transportation, housing, economic development, urban design, to name a few of those other elements. So that the phase 3 will go all the way into 2025 to spring of 2025 to finish up the overall update to the document. Couple just quick items about where you can, what we've done so far and where you can find more information. AtlantaForAll.com is the main project website. You can get all the schedule there. You can get a lot of our fact sheets. We have information about what's happened before and what's coming up. We've also been using social media, email, and other online tools to reach out to folks. We have done some utility mailers. We've done general education materials we've been using, providing regular updates to the city council and then updates like this to the NPUs. We're incorporating into the NPU 50th anniversary celebration. We're connected to Zoning 2.0, like we mentioned, and then we have our Plan A ambassadors, which are folks who are typically staffing these workshops, the open houses, the pop-ups, the conversations with planners, and any sort of engagement that we have going on. So yeah, AtlantaForAll.com is the place to go to get all those details and stay up to date. And that is the end of the presentation. Thank you for your time.
Doug, this
Yes.
is Deb. Are the workshop formats the same as the round 1?
Just a second. Great question, Debbie. The last time they were open houses, so you circulated, to stations, you might remember that. This time it'll be a little more structured. So it'll be a meeting format. So there'll be an opening, a middle, and an end. So we'll have an opening presentation, sort of orienting folks to what we're talking about and sort of where we are in the process and what we're asking of folks that night. And then we'll go to the tables that'll have, planners staffing there to ask specific questions about the patterns and the frameworks. And there'll be a sort of a wrap-up segment as well. So it won't be a free-flowing open house. So we're asking people to come on time because we will start with a sequential agenda at 6:30.
Okay. Okay. And once again, the closest one in our NPU is Virginia Highland Elementary.
Yes.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's, like I said, 16 around the city of Atlanta, and they alternated with the round 1 big events. We try to spread it around a little bit.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions for Doug?
And I will put all the planner report information in the chat, and I'll try to get a link to, or the PDF to put in the chat. I think it won't be too big, but I'll give it a shot.
Already. Okay, thanks, Doug. If there are no other questions comments. We will move on to neighborhood and committee reports. And this is the segment where we just do a quick rundown through the neighborhoods, see if anything cool is going on. Lindridge Martin Manor. Piedmont Heights. Anyone here from Piedmont Heights? Morningside Lenox Park.
We have our first spring concert in the park, our only spring concert in the park on Friday. City Marcus Park, 6 to 8. Come do something happy to build our community. But it'll be fun. It's always a good time. There'll be a food truck there, live music. It's a high school band actually, and maybe some other treats.
Cool. Virginia Highland. Okay.
I don't see anybody, but I will remind everybody that Porch Fest is this weekend in Virginia Highland. So there's a 5K in the morning, and there'll be music going on all afternoon on porches in the neighborhood. Go to the Porch Fest website and you can get the whole rundown. Come out and, as Marla said, do something fun and listen to some music and drink some beer.
Cool. Edmund Park. The Emory Druid Hills area.
Hey, Debbie. How are you?
Good.
I just ended the semester. I think everyone was glad to see it wind down this year, and commencement went off without a hitch.
Fabulous. Let's see. Rich said that he has no report for parks, trees, and environment. Does anyone have anything to share from the education landscape? Communications, Marla?
Oh, no.
Marla, thank you. You did a
They were good. Thank you. We'll finish registering people tomorrow.
Alrighty. And public safety, Kay?
Nothing to report.
Okay. APAB does not have a report. Our May meeting is this Saturday during Porch Fest, so I will not be able to go. Instead of the meeting, we'll be participating in an all-day strategic planning session. And the community impact project status reports, still no word from the city on a grant to us. And I have no chair report. I gave it during announcements early on. Now, is there any other business to come before the NPU tonight? Oh, Leah LaRue has raised her hand.
Good evening, NPU-F. I'll keep it brief, and please forgive me for not having my camera on. But I just heard what you said, Debbie, and I'm surprised that you all did not get an award letter, but I definitely signed one. So there is an award letter for NPU-F.
Well,
I'm surprised to hear that you don't have it, though.
Well, we did get an awards letter, but it was for our 2023 projects.
Oh, the attachment fiasco. I do remember that.
Yeah, my fault.
So you have the right amount, though. You just don't have the letter that has the right projects. Is that correct?
It was, Dominga never confirmed that it was the right amount.
Okay, all right. If you could reach out to me tomorrow, I'll confirm that for you and get y'all the corrected letter tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much, Leah.
Thank you, and great meeting tonight. The best job ever, Debbie. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you.
And Kay and Marla, whom I haven't met. You guys just did a really, really exceptional job. Seriously. Thank you. I'll mute so you could carry on.
Thank you so much. If there's no other business to come before the NPU tonight, and there are no other hands raised, then the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Marla.
Thank you all. Thank
And
everybody.
Ashley and Kim.
Interesting meeting. Lovely.
It is, and don't forget that you can copy the chat. There is a way to do that. If you go to the bottom of the chat box, you'll see 3 dots. If you click on that, the save chat will come up and you can save the chat. There's all sorts of good information in there. There's probably all sorts of crap in there too, but
We're here every month.